Hello students, welcome to week 2. This is Dr. Romo. You made it successfully through week 1. Congratulations. I know week 1 can be a challenge getting into the swing of things, especially having a break in between classes or moving from one class to the next, and the transition can be tough. So feel very proud that you made it through the first week. This week we are focusing on writing blogs. We are getting started with our writing and on our actual blog and our site. Our agenda tells us we're reading chapters 4 and 6. We're watching 2 videos related to journalism because the focus of this blog is applying journalistic skills. We're completing discussion board number 2 by Friday, with reply posts due no later than Sunday, as well as blog assignment number 1 is due on Sunday. Now, do keep in mind, for those of you that may have reached out to me over the past weekend, I do reserve the weekend to kind of have a personal reprieve, spend some time with my family. I'm not required to work on the weekend, so I don't. Not that I don't check email or check or answer questions that you may have. It's just my response may be delayed because it's not during the normal Monday through Friday work week. However, do keep in mind that if you have a particular question that you definitely want to know before the assignment is due, it is probably best that you reach out to me some point between Monday and Friday. If there is an emergency, I will get back to you on the weekend. I do check my emails here and there, but I make a point to just unplug and spend some time with family, which each of you should take some time to do at some point in your academic career. This week, our agendas that we are focusing on are exploring the concepts of free writing. We're summarizing the purpose of effective headline writing for blogs, as well as examining and using the use of media theories and digital media platforms. And these will relate to Objective 1.1, 2.2, and 3.1 in our course objectives. Discussion board number 2. So this week we are moving into discussion board number 2. This will need to be at least 400 words. Your replies will be at least 250 words. I want you this week to explore concepts from the course readings that are related to looking at headline writing. What makes you more likely to read an article when you look at headlines? What provides factual information as opposed to non-factual information? When you use a search engine to find articles on a topic, how many pages of search results are you likely to scan? This is all related to headlines. Are posts on Twitter is more like headlines or decks? What about posts on Facebook? Look specifically at the text to see what that says about those things and how that relates to that. In other words, you can also find a lot of outside sources that will help with this too. More importantly, we're focusing on our first blog assignment. So remember, this class is utilizing the aspects of a blog to apply our journalism skills. Remember, I noted last week in our lecture that this course is a production course. It's in the title of the course, yes, but more importantly, we are producing journalistic pieces. To do that, we're utilizing a blog. This week, you are creating your blog. I do have a video posted on the website on our Blackboard module that tells you how to create a WordPress blog in 5 steps. WordPress is not the only site required. That one typically is usually the easiest and most user-friendly to use, so definitely use that. Now, you can use Blogger, you can use Weebly, you can use any other blogging site you'd like. It's completely up to you. And please use the free site. You do not need to get a paid URL or a vanity URL. You're more than welcome to use yourname.wordpress.com, whatever is free. You will be developing things on your blog starting this week and posting the URL within the assignment instructions also. So keep that in mind. Typically, your blogs will be about 200 to 400 words in length. This week, our first blog assignment is a little unique. This is where you're establishing some things about the blog to help me understand what you're going to be focusing on. So I want you to create your blogging website. I want you to get it up, get it live, and create an About Us section on your blog website. When you do that, you will write at least a 250 word to no more than 500 word section that is about you, about the author. It should have some photos. It should have any information that clearly shares who you are. If you're not familiar with this, I encourage you to go to some of your own personal favorite blogs and look at their About Us section or About the Author section. See what they're how they phrase it, what they're related to, and how they often will refer to themselves and tell you the nature of it. Some of them you'll see are very personal in nature. Some of them are very personal in nature, and some others you'll see are not. They're more professionally focused on what the purpose of the blog is rather than the person. We'll get into that, some more personal preference, and we'll talk about that a little later this term. However, what I want you to do is I want you to, in your assignment in Word, I want you to, number one, identify your blog topic, explain the topic of your blog, what it is, and what type of stories you'd like to write. I want you to share at least 2 blogs that you feel are exemplars, meaning they are great, stellar examples of a blog that you want to strive to have your blog look like. Explain why you like these blogs and why you're using them as examples to develop your blog throughout this term. Tell me what they contribute to media, what they contribute to your topic, design, writing style, whatever it may be. Do not worry. If your blog is going to be about cooking and the favorite blog that you want to share is related to raising children, that's okay. Just tell me why you like it. I like the style of the person's writing. I like the way they design it. I like the simplicity of it. I like this. I like that. Whatever it may be is totally fine. Then I want you to provide a link to your About Us section. So that's 3 things. 1, in a Word doc, or an APA formatted Word doc. Identify your blog, explain what it is, and what stories you'd like to write. 2, share at least 2 blogs and tell me why they are stellar. Provide the URLs to them. And then 3, provide a URL to the About Us section and tell me what the process was in writing that section. I want to be able to click it and it'll hyperlink me directly to your blog. That is a formal requirement this week, so do keep that in mind. So if you have any questions related to getting that going, do let me know. I hold virtual office hours, meaning I am online. You can find it in the syllabus on how to access me on Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can pop into my virtual classroom and you will be able to get in touch with me through there if you have any questions that you want to ask live, or you can email them too, whatever's convenient for you. I want to spend some time talking about agenda setting theory this week. The reason why I want to do this is I think it's important for us to see where theory comes into play. Agenda setting is directly related to media. We're starting to produce a type of media that will be out there for people to view. So McCombs and Shaw told us that they developed this theory in the late 60s related to the presidential election that told us that the media can set the public agenda and discourse. They don't tell you what to think, but they're telling you what to think about. So they found, and they had a series of studies that showed a direct correlation from what was reported in the media. So this was directly related to news media at this particular time. It's been expanded significantly since then. However, they were able to find that news media could not convince the public. We were too savvy to be convinced to think what they wanted us to think by what they were reporting. But they were able to show a direct correlation that they could set the public agenda of what people were talking about in society by what they reported. So if you consistently saw on ABC, NBC, CBS, etc., 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 them covering the same similar topics, they may not tell us what to think, but they will tell you what you should be talking about and how that relates to many different things within our lives. We found that this is one of the most prominent media effects theories in our time. It's particularly and was originally focused on news media, but most recently is being applied to social media, blogs, and other forms of digital media that we consume very frequently. So it's really important to think about how this theory relates directly to the media we're producing, and how if things are commonly seen within different realms or different areas on the interwebs, how that may set the agenda for what people are thinking or talking about. Maybe not necessarily thinking what you want them to think about it, but at least talking about it. So keep that in mind. You'll find that this week the reading spends some significant amount of time in finding your voice. When we write, we really do speak in written words. The magic of writing is that readers who may never meet us hear what we have written. Music will rise from the pages when we read it. We call the heard quality of writing voice. Your blog should have one voice. It should be recognizable to readers and consistent throughout your post. Really, some phenomenal editors and writing coaches have been noted as saying, particularly Carl Sessions, most writers' voices emerge spontaneously. If they clear some Clear away some of the obstructing professional underbrush, the artificial constraints, expectations that haunt many newsrooms, writing studios, and writer-editor collaborations. The voice will emerge. Voice, in other words, is a little more than the real you. It's dressed up simply with a dash of elegance for a night on the town. It's not something that can be conjured. Rather, it's not something that's slathered on top of your work. It's something that emerges from your posts. Your readers should feel as if they're having a conversation with you in each post. There's a story that you have to tell. Make it convincing, make it compelling. Using analogies really help with this. A good analogy gives writer clarity and energy. We've tried in many different ways to show the idea of free writing. That is a way to help and to see that. Use analogies to help with that. Really, analogy that compares writing to musical forms is helpful, as well as some analogies make things clearer than others merely confuse. The comparison is flawed or doesn't accurately reflect what you're trying to say. However, using analogy may not accomplish what you want it to do, but it's important to know that analogy will give your writing some clarity and energy when done effectively. With that, it's important to see how we need to start getting the conversation going. Each blog should attract readers and ultimately subscribers. This week in your About Us section, this is where people will get to know you. So your blog should thrive on the interactivity and building relationships with readers, but specifically your About Us section should draw them to you. New bloggers really need to figure out how they want to deal with reader responses. Readers often experience parasocial interactionism. Actually, we're going to learn, if you've not already in this program, that any consumers of any media will experience parasocial interactionism at some point. Parasocial interactionism is a very complex theory that's related directly to communication, but to sum it up in a sentence, if you can, it is when somebody feels they truly know someone they have never actually met. We've all experienced this with celebrities. We see tons of fans lining up for hours to meet a famous celebrity that they love and they know. We saw this with One Direction. We've seen this with many different boy bands. Girls, teenagers, boys and girls alike flock to see them because they feel as if they know them. This happens significantly now through social media. This happens significantly in blogs. Your readers will experience parasocial interactionism. They will feel like they actually know you, even though they may have never actually met you. That means your voice is coming through. That means you're getting the conversation going. This will happen through your headlines. This will happen through your stories. This will happen in many different ways. So it's imperative that you grow and you nurture a community of commenters, a community of interaction. From a public relations perspective, we need to engage in a two-way dialogue. Your audience should be able to feel as if they can communicate with you instantly and directly. That's a core component to public relations. So a blog you develop for your company or a blog you manage as part of your portfolio at a PR firm needs to feel as if they really truly know that company, that you have that parasocial interactionism flowing, that they feel like they truly know you. But you have to also have a clear comment policy. So I've listed 5 types of comment policies you have. It's important you start thinking about this now before you begin posting next week. It's really important to know that their blogs are susceptible to trolls. We know about internet trolls. We've seen them out there in many different ways. Interactivity is the heart of a blogging culture. Most bloggers don't just hand down their wisdom. They interact with their readers. It's a core component, like I mentioned, of public relations and building that audience rapport. But for some, it's also important in really engaging and developing and nurturing that voice when it comes to your site. Spammers often quickly overwhelm your comment section with ads for various and unsavory products and such. So it's very important that as you build your community, you must make sure your readers belong to a community, and the community you want them to belong to is one of people who research and write actively about things and really want to engage with yourselves in some way or another. So when you look at that, it's really important to see how you should develop that. As you look through it, you'll see that you need to really come up with a clear policy. The best one usually is to moderate comments yourself. You can go through that approval stage of where a blog post is notified to you, and I mean a comment, and then once you have approved that comment, it will show. A lot of people say that moderating the comments yourselves, even with the extra work involved, is the best way of doing that. Make yourself the moderator of your own blog comments. At first, there will not be many, obviously, but as your blog grows and becomes larger, you need to consider what you're looking for within that. If you're new to blogging and really serious about it, you should protect yourself and others from comments and things like that. So this is important for you to moderate it in some way. Comments are very important to blogging. So it's really important that you start thinking about what you want to do with that at this point prior to getting your posts going. So to recap, I really wanted to highlight that we're reading chapters 4 and 6. We are watching 2 videos related to journalism and agenda setting theory. You're beginning your blog this week. Blog assignment number 1 is due on Sunday. That should be exciting. You get to pick out templates, and I'm not looking for much in terms of design. Just do what you can to get it live and get it going, as well as completing discussion board number 2 on Friday with your reply post no later than Sunday. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I look forward to interacting with you this week, and I'm working on getting those week 1 assignments back to you so you can have some good feedback. Like I said, have a great week. God bless, and I know you will be successful in getting your blog going this week. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great week.